Here are a few tips and tricks for you. When you record a macro, you have the option to store your macro in the current workbook, a new workbook, or a personal macro workbook. What's the difference? When you create it only in your workbook, then you can only use and run that macro in the current workbook. However, when you save macros in the personal workbook, they're going to be hidden in your system and they're going to open up whenever you open the Excel application. This will save you time, so you don't have to recreate the same macros again and again in case you want to use them across different workbooks. How do you create a message box? This is our next step. Let's go to the Visual Basic Editor. You can hit Alt and F11, or you can access it through the ribbon. I just inserted a new module and I named my new macro Show Message. And underneath it, I started with the function message box. So let's look at the prompts. First of all, what is the message I want in my message box? It's going to be Hello, Excel, Ninjas. Next, I'm going to go to VB Information, and I can just hit the tab button here. And this is what I want the title of my message box to be. So it could be warning, important. I'm going to say hello message. So this is going to be my hello message. And then that's it. I'm going to save and I'm going to say close. I'm going to go to my Excel workbook. I'm going to right click on my object and choose to link it to a macro that I just created, which is show message. I'm then going to hit OK. Now when I click on the welcome message, it's going to say hello Excel Ninjas. In the third tip, you will learn how to enter an input box. This macro is going to display a pop-up dialog box that prompts your user to input text. It only has 3 parameters. Without further ado, let's see how we can make this work. I'm going to go back to my Visual Basic Editor, and I'm going to start by entering or creating a new macro. I am going to simply call it box, and next I'm going to start by specifying the range where I want my text to appear in. In my case, it's cell C3, and then I'm going to hit equal. The function is going to be input box, and then I'm going to enter the prompt that I want to be displayed in the dialog box. So I'm going to say enter your name here. And then I'm going to put in the title displayed in the input box's title bar. I'm going to say simply name. Lastly, I can give them an example. So this is the default value pre-filled in the input box, which provides a sample input for your user. So an example of a name would be, for example, Aiden. And then I'm going to close my brackets and I'm going to save. I created a box called name. I'm going to right click on it and assign the macro. The macro is box, and I'm going to hit OK. Now when I click on it, it says enter your name here. For example, Aiden. I'm going to say Excel Ninja, and I'm going to hit OK. My name is entered into cell C3. Let's move on to tip number 4. Excel typically opens to the sheet and cell where you last saved the workbook. So if you last save on A1, that is where it's always going to open to. However, you can customize it to open directly at a specific sheet and cell of your choice. This is particularly useful when sending a file to someone, ensuring that the receiver immediately lands on the right sheet and cell, allowing them to start working without any delays. I'm going to hit Alt F11 to enter my Visual Basic Editor, and then I'm going to double click on this workbook. The Project Explorer is usually on the left-hand side. If it's not visible, just hit Ctrl+R to display it. Now once I double-click this workbook, the code window is going to open. and I'm going to enter private sub, and I'm going to call my new macro open underscore workbook. I'm going to open and close brackets, and I'm going to hit enter. Next, I'm going to specify the sheet that I want the workbook to land on when it's open. So I'm going to say sheets, and I want it to be your expenses, and I'm going to say select. Next, I want to specify the range that I want to start from, and I can of course change those two based on my needs. So the range is going to be A1 for example, and I'm also going to say select. You will note that even if you save at D2, the next time you will open your workbook, it will automatically land on A1, just like this. Tip number 5. What's the point of hiding a worksheet if anyone can just right-click and unhide it? And then they can access all the information, which was not really your intention. So, if you're looking to keep your data truly out of sight, Excel's basic hide option is not going to be enough. I'm going to show you Excel's very hidden feature so that your worksheet won't even appear in the unhide menu. I'm going to hit Alt F11 to go to the Visual Basic menu, and then select the sheet that you want to hide. I want to hide sheet 2. Then press F4 in order to access the Properties window. Underneath Visible, change from Sheet Visible to Sheet Very Hidden. Now save and exit. Go back to your workbook, and if you right-click and try to unhide, it's grayed out and it will not let any other user to access the sheet that you just hid. To undo this, I'm going to hit Alt F11 again to go to my VBA code, and then I can go back to my sheet and change to visible or sheet hidden, where if you right click you can access the sheet again. I'm going to choose sheet visible, and then when I go back to my workbook I can see it again. Tip number 6. Imagine this. You're entering data into Excel and the text and numbers are vanishing because of the narrow columns. Frustrating, right? VBA can automatically fix this. Right-click on your worksheet and then select View Code. Make sure you select the worksheet you're working on, and from here make sure you put in selection change. Type in this code, cells.entire column out of it, save, and go back to your worksheet. Now I'm in column I and it's very narrow, so I'm going to type in full name of employee and I'm going to hit enter. Automatically Excel's going to change my column width. ID number, boom.